Hey everybody, my name is Noah Elias, and thank you so much for stopping by and watching this new video. For the last 30 years, I've been an artist, and it's been a wild and fun and creative journey, to say the least. It's been a ton of fun. I've had the opportunity, when I first started my business at 16, going door to door on a bike. It then grew into corporate clients and doing work with celebrities. And then one day when I finally came to the decision that I wanted to actually make my art and sell it while I sleep and make money online. So that's why I've created this video. It's basically called The Art of Publishing, and it's a new series that I'm going to be launching online. And this series that you can see below allows you to be able to take your art and leverage your art to help it make revenue for you while you sleep and while you live and do life. So my journey did begin, at 16, going door to door on a bike. It was a way for me to learn the art of people. It allowed me to do work for hire one at a time, but I was starting to get really burnt out in my 20s because I was that guy that could paint anything. I was the guy that painted the cars for the Fast and the Furious. I was able to work with Universal Pictures on that. I worked with CBS Television. I worked with MTV and painted the bottom of the pool for Robin Big. It was a really fun journey, but it was all jobs that were one at a time. If I wanted to make more revenue, I had to paint another car and wait for another car to come in, or another Harley, or another commission piece for a client. Life was all about it coming in and coming out when it came to my creativity. I also looked at the lives that were being done with artists that were established or in galleries and living a life where they were making money off of their art. So that's what this series is about. How can artists, whether it's tattoo artists, whether it's photographers, whether it's whether you do watercolors, any sort of image, how can you take your images that you spend your time on and leverage them to be able to make revenue for you? So I'm taking my 30 years experience of growing through the corporate business and doing the onesie twosies and commissions for clients and murals and there were some big ones, the backdrops for the Black Crowes and their tours. I was able to work on some fun stuff with Craig T. Nelson and his race car trailer and painting that 52-foot trailer. So if it could be painted, I pretty much have done it all. And in that amount of time, I realized I'm getting really burnt out. And if I continue to have a life of this where I have to actually paint everything to make money, I'm going to go crazy. So I pumped the brakes on life and I stopped for a minute and I took stock and I had to really, really think about it. And I had to ask, hey, how am I spending my time? If my time is my number one asset here on earth, how am I using my life and my creativity? Is my work working for me? Am I making money while I'm sleeping? And am I painting the kind of content that is most preferred to my heart, that generates a passion in my heart? So the modules that I've created is called The Art of Publishing. And I take that 30 years and I'm putting that entire course together. That's the playbook. Is how I went from creating art one at a time on a commission-based work for hire to then doing it where I have art that's on my website that's generating revenue for me. Before I get to that, though, I want to talk about one of my students that I've been mentoring. She was out of Nashville, does fantastic art. It's very decor-driven, stuff that designers would buy to put in homes and tells a really great story. It's abstract stuff. But it's really solid, really beautiful stuff. And I looked at her brand, I did an overhaul on her brand, and she was kind of looking at things, in terms of her website and where the misses were. And there's this saying that I live by. For an artist to do one piece of work and to make money from it, being their only way to make revenue is paint it, draw it, whatever it is, to make it once and then to sell it as their only way to make revenue, is the equivalent of an author having to rewrite his book over and over again to sell it to make revenue. Or to write a new book and that one person gets it and that's it. I would love for you, if you're an artist, if you're creative, if you're a tattoo artist, I see tattoo artists all the time and this is right up their alley. You're spending time, the hours that you have on this earth, and you're using it to either, one, give it to somebody, or use it and leverage it over and over and over again to make supplemental income while you sleep. So for creatives, this is a huge sign of a wake-up call, but it's also one of the biggest, best days because it means that your life is going to be different from here on forward. So I sat with Deanne, looked at her brand, and I said, hey, so are you selling originals? What do you got? Do you have anything that you're publishing? And lo and behold, she didn't have anything that she was publishing. She found out that she was painting everything that needed to be sold as originals. Nothing was being scanned. Nothing was being held in her arsenal as in terms of what I call the bank account that lives online for you. You're depositing these items such as your original works, and then you're leveraging those to make money while you sleep. So we started implementing this concept, and this is what I'm actually going to teach in the art of publishing. What I taught for this artist is what I'm going to teach for you, and this is what's in the modules, and it really breaks it down. And this allowed her, within 3 months, she passed the $17,000 range. Within 3 months of incremental income that she didn't have before. And this was just her first try. She didn't even roll this out in a big way. This was just like a little tidbit test to see how it would work. And it's having major fruit. It's literally changed her life, her husband's life, their family, their children. And quite honestly, this is the best investment that she could make as a creative on herself, because she's making a deposit into her future and her children's future. So let's take a look at what's going to be learned in the art of publishing. A few things and I've got them written down here, is we start with, first of all, how to build a series of work. I break it down over the course of a year, actually how many pieces of art you're going to create, original pieces of art that you're going to create in that year. You're also going to find out how to gear and direct your content so that it's specific to where you're not saying, hey, I'm going to paint 25 images this year and it's just going to be random stuff. No, it's cohesive. It's intentional. The success is planned. The success is strategized. And so we begin with the end in mind, how you want to actually end this year. And that includes revenue. So we back in that, starting with the kind of series and the kind of quality of work that you want to create and the stories that you want to tell. I also do touch on the stories as well. Forecasting your year is vital. Planning your year out to the point of the peace of mind that you can gain as a creative as to, if I want to create this amount of images per year, how many weeks are in a year, how many months in a year, how many days I'm going to have in each week, and how much I actually produce. That's how I created in 1 year, one of my most solid years that I had. I was doing work with Disney, Arturo Fuente Cigars. I was doing a floral series. I was doing wine series and working with wineries. I had been doing everything with all these different avenues and literally batching these series into different segments of the companies that I was partnering with. So I had a huge demand with Disney. I had a huge demand with the wineries, a huge demand with the florals. It was this vast array of work. In that year, I created 52 originals. And in that was basically one a week. And in that amount of time, I was able to scan them, get them archived, and started publishing my work. And that was one of the most productive years of my life. And from that point on, that's how my years have gone. How can I take my creative content and leverage it for me and put it to work for me? So we begin with the end in mind. How you want to end your year, how you want your months to look, how much work you're going to be doing per week, etc. So we set those expectations. My goal for you with an artist to be able to wake up and say, hey, I know who I am, what I'm supposed to do, and exactly how I'm supposed to do it. I know what my work is supposed to be today. I know exactly how much time it's going to take. And I know exactly how much money I'm going to make for the time that I'm actually investing in. Okay? I then start going into how to tier your product, all right? Meaning, what sort of offering are we going to offer on your website? If you do one image, for example, how many price points are you going to have? How many sizes are you going to have? Why are you doing that? Is 6 too many? Is 3 too few? So I really help you back down into what is the sweet spot on what sizes to do based on how much they cost to produce, what they cost to ship, and the price points of who your demographic is, who you're selling to. Are you going to do open edition? Are you going to do limited edition? And the pros and cons between both. I'm going to show you the strategies behind what have worked for us and what's been the sweet spot for me that I've done over the last the last 15, 20 years of publishing, and what's really worked best. I'm then going to dive into literally where to get it printed. So not only do you just hear what you're supposed to do, I show you how to do it, actually going down to the nuts and bolts of what it looks like to have them printed, building the relationship with your vendor, where to get your bags, where to get your shipping supplies, how to set up your actual back end to be able to get this stuff fulfilled. And most importantly, here's where it gets really, really sweet. I get it to the point where you actually don't even touch anything. You literally create a single piece of artwork, do what you do best, and then just that then gets archived and it's off to the races where you don't even have to touch it. It shows up on on the doorstep of your customer, and it is a sweet, sweet deal. You get to focus on what you are best at, and that's standing at that easel, that's working on that piece. So that doesn't eat up your time. Then I go into how do we drive the sequencing and the sales. Let's say you have your art up on your website. I show you how to present it up on your website. I show you how to get it to the point where everything's presented nice. Then how do I go about getting that out into the world when I do my marketing? Letting people know about what the price points are, how I launch a new image, etc. Then the most important thing is I then forecast with you over the course of the year X amount of originals, X amount of canvases, X amount of open editions, X amount. I literally break it out and we look at exactly how much money that you can make. On the average, I have found if an artist is willing to discipline this, and this isn't a guarantee or anything, but this is just what I've seen. I've seen for sure people add incremental income, but I have seen some take off. If the one artist that I overhauled and she started in the first 3 months making $17,000, can you imagine where it's going to go after that? What happens in 6 months, 9 months. But most importantly, you are going to be able to pretty much have a gauge on where the income is going to come from. And let me give you a case in point where a good example would look like. One thing that really I think is a large miss is tattoo artists. Tattoo artists have this amazing gifted talent. Probably some of the best artists I've ever seen are tattoo artists that do amazing storytelling on a person's skin. They spend and trade time for dollars. They have a 5-hour, 6-hour session, 8-hour session, depending on what's happening with the consultation with the client. Then they're spending the time doing the drawing. Then they're spending the time actually putting it on the client. Now, that's great. What I'm looking at is what if you kept doing the tattoo work that you're doing, however, on the side, you started booking yourself as a client, and in the time that you would book yourself as one client, you started working on your own original artwork, and let's just say you did 1 a month, and that's 12 for the year. What would happen if you did that every single year and you were batching another 12, another 12, another 12? I believe, as a creative, your greatest asset is taking your creativity, spending the time on yourself, not on other people, and batching those away in your bank account, which is your website, and putting that to work for you to where you make money while you sleep. You are a brand, and when people come for you for your creativity, I think it's a crime and a missed opportunity for a tattoo artist to spend the majority of his life putting his story onto people's arms, while at the same time there's a lot more people out there that would love to enjoy that artwork. I know for myself, I see artwork on a person's arm, and I just go, I would love to put that on my wall, but I can't because it's on this guy's arm. So it's shifting of a paradigm. It's the opportunity to say, hey, I am going to keep doing the tattooing, which I love, and it's in my blood. Fantastic. I absolutely commend that. What I'm looking at is have this dream built alongside to where you're not only going to make money if somebody's sitting in your chair. I treat that the same way as somebody's going to sit at an easel and do a painting. They paint that original once. They spend 15 hours, 20 hours. I've even heard as much as 140 hours on an original. And they sell it for a couple grand, and it goes to somebody, and you just traded 140 hours, and somebody bought your time on earth. I am a proponent of helping artists leverage their time wisely, work the least amount of time possible, make the most money they've ever made while doing what they love the most. To me, that is the sweet spot to live in. So, the art of publishing, that's what it's all about. You'll learn about tiering your products, selling your products, manufacturing your products, getting fulfillment directly to your customers. You'll learn how to create your series, and you'll be able to judge your time and put a value to your time as a creative. So if that's something that you're interested in, if that's something that you're excited about, I know I am, and I thrive on helping others get to this freedom. It is unbelievable. This is the place for you, and you're in the right spot. Below, you're going to see an opportunity for yourself to enroll, and there'll be a button down below. If enrollment is closed, there is a spot for you to sign up on the mailing list, which you'll be informed on that waiting list when enrollment's going to open again. So go down below, hit enroll, and you'll immediately be able to go in. You'll be able to get the series, watch them at your leisure. It's all done online. You're able to watch them on your phone, on your iPad, on your desktop, and that content's yours. You're able to watch it at your leisure, and it's there for you anytime you like it, and you can rewatch that content. I believe this is going to be a paradigm shift, not only in your thinking, but it'll transform your career. And quite honestly, I think it's going to be the best investment on yourself, and your family's going to benefit from it, and your spouse is most likely going to be pretty stoked that you're spending the time building assets that are going to go to work for you, so that while you're sitting in Hawaii on that vacation, You're looking at website sales and you didn't even have to touch the product and you're making revenue while you sleep. That is the sweet spot. So until next time, I'm really glad that you're here. Click and roll below. Thanks for being here. I'm Noah and we'll talk soon.